woven reed mats, terracotta bowls, the sounds of an African dawn. And in the middle of the dwelling, a woman with a huge clay plate 12 centimeters in diameter in her lower lip. Not an ornament, not a coincidence, a tradition. One of the most recognizable and, at the same time, mysterious practices of human adaptation to the environment, which still causes controversy. Is it a form of discrimination or a unique cultural code of survival? This is the Mursi tribe, a people who live in the Omo Valley in southern Ethiopia. A people whose female role is measured not in words, but in visual symbols of social belonging and reproductive potential. A people whose traditions have become the object of both tourist pilgrimage and scientific debate. Here, the lip is not just a part of the body. It's a bridge between the biological self and the social self. It's a code that speaks, "I'm ready, I am strong, I am here," where the valley ends and isolation begins. The Omo Valley is one of the most isolated places in Ethiopia. Mountain ranges, the absence of paved roads, impassable terrain that makes a simple trip to a neighboring tribe an event lasting several days. And it is here, in the lower part of the valley, not far from Mago National Park and the town of Jinka, that the Mursi live. Nearby, in the upper part of the valley, are their closest relatives, the Suri people. Both groups belong to the large Surma family, speak related languages, and share similar cultural traditions. But the mountains between them are so insurmountable that contact is minimal. Both groups practice the same tradition. Women wear lip plates. But it is the Mursi who have become the focus of anthropologists and tourists because of their accessibility. They can be reached through the national park with a mandatory armed escort. There is no electricity here, no stores, no hospitals in the usual sense. There is livestock, there are rituals, there is knowledge passed down from generation to generation, and there is a tradition that defines the transition from childhood to adulthood through body modification. Why the lip? The anthropology of choice and adaptation. The first question everyone asks is, why? The answer is more complicated than it seems, because there is no single reason. There is a system of motivations that is intertwined with social roles, cultural codes, and personal choice. Lip plates in Mursi are called Debi Atogoin. They have become the main visual symbol of the tribe, a marker of identity that instantly distinguishes a Mursi woman from representatives of other groups. According to Surma oral traditions, the tradition of stretching the lips arose as a protective mechanism. It was believed that slave traders would not take women whose faces had been deliberately altered. But the Mursi themselves do not give such an explanation, and anthropologists point to an important fact. Lip plates are worn not only in Africa and not only by women. The Kayapo tribe in Brazil, for example, has older men who wear discs up to 6 centimeters in diameter in their lower lips as a sign of social seniority. This proves that the practice is not related to gender or continent. It is related to cultural mechanisms for denoting social status and the transition between age groups. A rite of passage from biology to society. Anthropologist David Turton, one of the leading researchers of the Mursi, describes the lip plate as an expression of social maturity and reproductive potential. It's not just an ornament. It is a bodily modification that turns the body into a text that can be read by all members of the community. A lip, stretched and decorated with a clay or wooden disc, says, "This woman has passed the rite of passage. She is ready for marriage. She is part of the adult world." This is similar to other forms of body modification common around the world: tattoos, piercings, circumcision, scarification. Each of them serves as a bridge between the individual body and social expectations. In the case of the Mursi, The lip plate becomes a visual confirmation that a woman belongs to her culture and is ready to fulfill the social roles associated with marriage, motherhood, and maintaining family ties. Beauty through the prism of culture. What is beauty? In the Western world, it's facial symmetry, certain proportions, smooth skin. But beauty is always a cultural construct. For the Mursi, the lip plate is a symbol of beauty, strength, and resilience. A woman with a large plate is considered more resilient, more serious, more worthy of respect. A woman without a plate may be seen as weak, lazy, or clumsy. Anthropologist Shauna Latosky recorded the words of an elderly Mursi woman in 2004. Her son married a woman without a stretched lip, and she always walks fast because she is ashamed. It was believed that such a woman would give less milk, her cows would be unhealthy, and she would hide from guests. The weight of the plate slows down a woman's gait. The swaying creates a special grace that is highly valued in Mursi society. This grace is no accident. It is the result of the body's adaptation to cultural requirements, just as high heels change the gait of women in Western societies. A process that lasts for months. When a girl turns 15 or 16, the moment of choice arrives. Her mother, or another woman from the settlement, makes an incision in her lower lip. Sometimes the 4 lower incisors are removed first to make room for the future plate. The incision is kept open with a wooden plug until the wound heals. This can take up to 3 months. The initial stage is painful, but the Mursi use herbal ointments that speed up healing and reduce the risk of infection. Women apply a white or black paste made from plant components called lomai. After healing, the girl begins to gradually stretch her lip by inserting increasingly larger plugs and plates. The first plate is usually about 1.5 inches in diameter, but some women continue stretching until their lips can accommodate discs of 5 inches in diameter or more. The process can take from a few months to 3 years, and the decision of how far to go is up to the girl. Okay, here's the translation of that fragment into American English, keeping it natural and YouTube-friendly. This is important. The Mursi are a really egalitarian society in a lot of ways. Lip plating is a choice a teenage girl makes. It's not something older women or men force on her. Of course, there's peer pressure, like with all teenagers, but a lot of girls get married happily without ever getting their lips pierced. And some actually change their minds and get the procedure done after they've already had a kid or two. It's not just lips, it's ears, bodies, and other signs of passage. Lip plates aren't the only form of body modification the Mursi do. Both girls and boys pierce and stretch their earlobes. The risk of infection is about the same, so there's an element of gender equality there, even though the sizes of the holes are different. The Mursi are also masters of scarification and body art. They use natural clay and pigments to decorate their skin. These designs have a few purposes: aesthetic beauty, spiritual protection, and keeping insects away in the harsh Omo Valley. Scarification has a deep cultural meaning. Men and women use scars to mark important events: marriage, childbirth, achievements in battle. These intricate patterns are seen as signs of strength and resilience. Women also wear iron ula bracelets, which aren't just for decoration, they're also weapons. These bracelets are used in a martial art called bracelet fighting. Only strong women can wear them on both wrists. When they wear the plate and when they take it out. Lip plates aren't worn all the time. They're most often worn by unmarried girls and young married women. Older women with kids wear them less often. The plates are a must in certain social situations: when serving food to men, milking cows, at important rituals like weddings and stick fights, donga. Unmarried girls, especially those with big plates, might wear them whenever they're out in public. There's an expectation that a groom or husband won't sleep with his bride until her lip has completely healed. Though, these days, men are breaking that rule more and more. When a woman becomes a widow, the plate is removed. It's believed that a woman's outer beauty goes away with her husband. After the plate is removed, there's a long, drooping lower lip left. Some women even stitch the lip up to give it a more traditional look, especially if they're planning on leaving their homeland. Marriage, cattle, and social status. There's this popular idea that the size of the lip plate is directly related to the size of the bride price. But anthropologist David Turton has debunked that. A lot of girls' marriages are already arranged, and the size of the bride price that their husbands' families will pay is already set before their lips are even cut. Still, oral tradition says that a woman with a really big lip plate can get up to 60 head of cattle as a dowry. Cattle are the foundation of Mursi life. They represent wealth, sustenance, and social status. The herd's milk and blood make up a big part of their diet. Cattle also play a key role in marriage negotiations. Dowries often include 30 to 40 cows and, in recent years, sometimes even rifles. It's interesting. Cattle inspire personal identity among the Mursi. Men often name themselves after their favorite cows, which shows the deep connection they have with their livestock. Pain, healing, and life after. A lot of people think of lip plates as a constant source of pain, like Chinese foot binding or female genital mutilation. But that's not the case. The first 3 to 6 months are definitely painful for the girl, but after the lip heals, there's no more pain. You can often see women stretching their lips like they're massaging them, or gently letting babies tug on their lips without any discomfort. The plate affects speech, turning the S sound into a softer th, but it definitely doesn't affect the ability to sing or communicate. You can even see girls dancing energetically with their lip plates in. There's no doubt, though, as Shauna Latosky explains, that wearing a lip plate, like wearing high heels, affects a woman's gait, slowing her down and giving her a certain grace. Donga, a martial art of honor and a marriage strategy. The Mursi men have their own form of rite of passage, donga, or stick fighting. It's a traditional martial art that tests not just physical strength, but also courage and endurance. Participants use long wooden sticks in duels that often draw big crowds. The winner gets social prestige and becomes a desirable husband. Women attend these duels wearing their best lip plates, which makes donga an important event for showing off social roles and cultural identity. Unfortunately, the spread of modern weapons has affected this tradition. While stick fighting is still an important cultural activity, disputes sometimes turn into violence with firearms, which threatens the authenticity of the tradition. Social structure and the role of women. The Mursi maintain a specific system of age groups for men, while women get their status primarily through marriage and family roles. Leadership is informal, with elders guiding the community through wisdom and discussions. The only formal role of authority is the komoru, or priest, who serves as a spiritual leader, mediating between the tribe and their deity, Tumwi. Spirituality is central to the Mursi way of life. Rituals and ceremonies are held to address issues like droughts, illnesses, or community conflicts. These practices not only strengthen social cohesion, but also preserve their cultural identity in the face of outside influences. Tourism, money, and changing traditions. In the 1980s, foreign visitors started coming to the Omo Valley, drawn by the unique tradition of lip stretching. Today, the Mursi have become one of the region's main tourist attractions, but this attention has complicated consequences. Some researchers point out that the cultural wealth of the Mursi has become a commodity in the 21st century. Wearing lip plates, smearing their faces with clay, wearing children's skirts on their heads. It's all done to look even more exotic and earn more money from enchanted tourists. When they can't get money, the Mursi ask for clothes, empty plastic bottles, razors, plastic beads, soap, and balloons. They use most of these materials for purposes they've developed in their own imaginations. For example, balloons are used to store money inside. Undoubtedly, the Mursi have contributed to the country's economy by attracting tourists. But there's also a downside. Enormous pressure on Mursi women to abandon the tradition of body modification comes from various parties, including the Ethiopian government and Protestant missionaries. Officials say that lip modifications represent an uncivilized tradition that should be abandoned. They're also aware that the Mursi tribe's lip plates exclude them from education, social, and economic well-being. The next generation: preservation or rejection. The younger generation of Mursi are increasingly abandoning the practice, preferring not to pierce their lips at all. Some even sew their lower lip shut to have a more traditional look, especially when they want to leave their native lands. According to a study by Shauna Latosky, there are men who believe that women should stop the practice if they aren't going to stick to wearing the plates. This is because without the plates, women tend to drool, and men find that unattractive. Nevertheless, wearing lip plates is still noticeable among the Surma people, and there doesn't seem to be much resistance to the practice. Comparison with Western practices. When we look at extreme forms of adornment among African peoples, it's easy to dismiss them as primitive or unattractive. But it's important to recognize and question the influence of a Western lens on our perception. While concerns about health risks may be justified, who's to say that practices like lip plates, scarification, or head elongation are less worthy than the West's own body modification traditions? Only when we try to free ourselves from a colonial lens can we truly appreciate African culture for what it is. Western societies practice piercing, tattoos, plastic surgery, Botox injections, high heels, corsets, foot binding, historically, and more. All of these practices alter the body to conform to cultural notions of beauty and status. How is a Mursi lip plate different from silicone implants or piercings, which are common in Western cultures? Both practices alter the body to conform to social norms and express individuality. The evolution of cultural adaptations in a changing world. The practice of lip stretching among the Mursi is a unique social adaptation that helps us understand the evolution of human communities and the impact of the environment on cultural development. In the isolated conditions of the Omo Valley, where contact with the outside world has been minimal for centuries, the Mursi have developed a complex system of visual markers that denote transitions between age groups, social roles, and community affiliation. The lip plate has become a central element of this system, not as a tool of oppression, but as a way to express social maturity, reproductive potential, and cultural identity. But the world is changing. Tourism, globalization, pressure from governments and religious organizations, all of this is influencing how young Mursi women view their cultural tradition. Some researchers express concern that the tradition will disappear within the next few decades. Others argue that it's transforming, adapting to new realities, just as the Mursi themselves have adapted to the harsh conditions of the Omo Valley for centuries. What's clear is that the lip plate is no longer just a cultural marker. It has become a symbol of discussions about cultural relativism, human rights, tourism, globalization, and the right of communities to preserve their traditions in the face of external pressure. What we can learn from the Mursi. Studying Mursi lip plates offers much more than just a glimpse into an exotic practice. It raises fundamental questions about how human communities create meaning through the body, how cultural traditions adapt to the environment, and how personal choices interact with social expectations. The Mursi show us that cultural practices that may seem strange or even shocking from the outside have deep roots in the social structure and worldview of the community. They remind us that beauty, dignity, and identity are always culturally conditioned. They also make us reflect on our own body modification practices and how different or similar they are to traditions we tend to consider exotic or primitive. Ultimately, the story of Mursi lip plates is a story about how human communities use the body as a text on which to record their social roles, values, and identities. It's a story of survival, adaptation, and the constant evolution of culture in response to a changing world.